We're on site here today at an installation for one of our tubular heater systems known as the Retro DWS. And the Retro DWS, as you may or may not know, is a tubular heater system designed to go inside a gravity-fed wasteline. And in the application we're at here today, we're dealing with a residential holding tank that has a gravity-fed pipe coming from the home, and it's freezing from the home to the tank. In this application, we actually have a shallow buried pipe coming from the home to the holding tank. So the issue really is here that we do not have a lot of overburden or ground cover over the pipe. And what ends up happening is the pipe prior to the tank gets the warm, moist air from the tank and it condenses in the pipe and freezes. We can't access this pipe easily to place an external heating cable on it because the homeowner is concerned down the road, once they do some landscaping, that they want their heating system to be serviceable and they do not want to bury it where they can no longer reach it again. So we're going to be doing a Retro DWS internal tubular heating system. So you'll see I have with me here, I have the Retro DWS tubular heater. I have the fitting components. We'll go over the install a little bit later just to see that we have everything we need, as well as our channel locks to install the fittings. One thing you're not going to see here today, because we're actually on site with the finished product to install it, is the measuring of the length. And the measuring of the length is very critical because you do not want to come right into the tank and bump up against the baffle that is located in the tank. You just want to come just into the tank. So properly measuring the system prior to ordering it from the clean out is very critical. Now we did that measuring by inserting a measuring device from the clean out up to the baffle, pulling it back to a safe distance away from the baffle, and then measuring that exact length on the tape measure. There's many other ways to do it, but an internal measuring device is generally more accurate than simply walking across the ground. Now, just in case your measuring isn't accurate or you're not 100% confident, the Retro DWS is designed in such a way that it will afford us the ability to actually retract some cable at the entry point inside the home when you're doing the install. And we'll show that when we go inside and complete this installation. So we're inside the home now, just inside about 18 feet from the tank. We're a little bit of a unique place for our clean out, but we should be able to do what we need to do here in any case. We want to make sure that we have everything we need when we start the installation because we want to be able to do it start from finish. So as you'll see here, we have the Retro DWS tubular heater. We have the entry fittings that it comes with, which you need to select, and I'll show you once we pull off the clean out. We have the option for a 3-inch clean out, or we have the option for a 4-inch clean out. We also have in the package a biodegradable ball, which we're actually going to use on the tip of the DWS, and you'll see me do that. And that helps the system move through the pipe without really catching on anything. And the unique thing about this ball is it does break down in water and it is biodegradable. So you don't have to worry about pulling it off because in about 24 hours, it'll be completely gone. We also have a couple other tools to complete the job. We have our channel locks or adjustable wrench to do our fittings. And then we also have our torque wrench, which is a nut driver. Now, you may not have a torque wrench nut driver. This is an additional accessory just to make sure that our fittings are torqued correctly, but any nut driver, just snugging the fittings up will do. And last but not least, we have our Teflon tape, which we're gonna need some of that when we do the insertion of the threaded adapter into the clean out. So now that we have everything prepared, we've got our install directions here, so we'll follow them as we go through. We'll begin with the installation. And step 1 will be removing the current clean out cap.
There you go.
All right, we're gonna go ahead here and remove the clean out cap. And now we've got access. And what we're dealing with here is a TY setup. So The pipe's actually coming under the floor, heading straight out to the holding tank, and there's a TY coming off up to this cleanout. So the tubular heater is actually going to be coming down in on a 45, sweeping into the pipe and going out. Judging from the size of the cleanout here, we're looking at a 4-inch adapter. So we'll be going ahead here now and moving our 3-inch off to the side because we won't be needing those, and installing our 4-inch adapter and then our bushing prior to starting to insert the tubular heater. So we've got our Teflon tape on here now. Just remember too, this is a non-pressurized installation. The key here is really that we're sealing to prevent exits of gas. So we're gonna go ahead here now and install this fitting, but before we do that, we're just gonna clean the threads up there a little bit. We wanna make sure those threads are clean. We'll thread this in and then we'll get our bushing on. So we're threading in the Nibco adapter now into our clean out. And we'll get that in there as best as we can, hand tight, before we snug it up with the adjustable wrench. Now that we've got our adapter threaded in, we're gonna go ahead and put on our bushing, and we'll slide that right on there onto the end of the spigot. And then we'll go ahead and we're gonna tighten the hose clamp or the worm clamp on the fitting side with our nut driver here. And we're gonna tighten it on, and this nut driver that we're using, as I mentioned earlier, is a specific nut driver. It actually has a built-in torque wrench at 60 pounds, which is what you want to torque these clamps down to. Now that we have our coupler on and tight, we're going to move to actually inserting the tubular heater. So, spoke about this a little earlier. This is our dissolvable ball, and we're gonna make sure that we get that on the tip of the tubular heater so that when we're installing it, everything will move through freely, and this will dissolve in there within 24 to 48 hours. Now, we wanna make sure that we have everything prepared. We don't want it crossing over itself, anything like that. This is a shorter length, 18 feet. I'm gonna try my best to do this on my own, but for longer systems, you might want to plan on a 2-person job so you can have some assistance. One person to push it in while the other person holds the coil. So let's try to focus on what we got here. So we're just threading it in gently, pushing it into the pipe. Everything's moving fairly smoothly. Not hitting anything. That ball point on the end's really helping us out. As I said, we measured this a little earlier, so after we get the entire piece inserted, we're gonna go back out to the tank and we're gonna have a look. So we'll just thread it in there, just like that, and set it right in there. Now, I'm not gonna tighten the top worm clamp on here yet, even though that is the next step, because I wanna go back outside, have a look at where the tubular heater entered into the tank and make sure that it's not too far into our baffle. So we came back outside now to have a look at how the heater came in. As you'll see here, the tubular heater is actually protruding about 3 to 4 inches into the baffle. We don't want that in this situation because, as I said earlier, we don't want to come right into the baffle. So even though we did our very best to measure, we're a little bit long, but that's okay because we can extract a small amount of tubular heater inside, and we'll show you how to do that. So what we see here is we're, as I said, about 3 to 4 inches into the baffle. So we're gonna wanna go inside, extract a little bit back, maybe finish our tubular heater in around here. And then we'll finish the install process. We can put the lid back on and everything will be good to go. So we're back inside here now. And as we saw outside, we were about 3 to 4 inches longer than we wanted to be. I went ahead and I've pulled back about 8 to 10 inches of the tubular heater now. And I'm gonna show you how we can actually shorten that distance up so that we're exactly where we wanna be. So this bushing here that's around the tube, it actually compresses once we do this worm clamp. So right now, if I were to place my hand here and grab the bushing here, I can actually slide that bushing down along the tube, just twisting it gently and shoving down. And what we're doing here is we're removing some of that tubular heater from the pipe. So we've got probably about a good 4 to 5 inches out there now, which is what we want. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna seat that back in there. And now the tubular heater will be right where we want it, out in the tank. And then we're going to finish by tightening down this top worm clamp. So now that we're done, we're gonna go ahead and plug it into our nearest dedicated outlet. And in this installation, it's a short 18-foot system, so we're a 120 volt, 15 amp. And we'll plug it in. And we'll do our GFI test and reset just to make sure everything's working correctly. So we're back outside now, just wrapping the entire install up. Came outside once more just to verify our tubular heater's back in there where we want it, and it is, so that's perfect. So we'll go ahead now, we'll put the cap back on, seal everything off, get some overburden back on here, and this customer is ready to enjoy their residence without the concern of a frozen gravity septic line to their holding tank.